Hi guys, this is your recreational gamer, and today I will be building a tiny house for an 8 sim family. It's a quite a challenge. I'm doing this 64 um, tile a tiny house. I know you could do the micro home, but I mean, if anyone can do an 8 sim micro home, that would be amazing. I am not one of those people, so I opted out for the 64 tile tiny home, and I actually was pretty happy with how it came out. So I'm excited for all of you to see this build, and if you stick around to the end, you'll see the first person view of all the photos of all the interior and exterior of the house. So I ended up doing this kind of like a boxy look to it. So there are 2 floors, but I did the 32 tile on the first floor, 32 tile on the second floor. And the way to save space, the trick here is to make sure that you essentially don't waste your tiles with the staircase. So I ended up putting the staircase on the outside. Now, I know that that's not really ideal because you wouldn't want to live in a house where you have to kind of go outside in order to go to a different room. In this case, there are 2 bedrooms upstairs. But I figured this is kind of like an oasis. Desert kind of town. So you figure, warm weather all the time. And besides, when you're doing tiny living, really you are opting out for that indoor outdoor living space anyway. So uh, I ended up feeling fine about the stairs afterwards. And what I ended up doing to save space also is doing the move objects. This has move objects on. Um, like I said, I'm not really an expert, but if anyone is able to build this house with move objects off, I would really love to see it. But for 8 sims again, but I just couldn't see that being possible. But I tested this house, so it works. Everything is functional, so that's good news. The only thing is that I won't be able to, you'll see later, there isn't any space to put like an eating area inside the house. So you'll see that we're going to build them a big table, because there's 8 people in the house. So they'll have a nice big 8-person dining table outside, hence that pergola right there. Um, I was quite happy with it. I think that, when I picture a tiny house, I usually see that kind of a small space. And the whole purpose of a tiny house, right, is that you don't have to compromise by buying like a huge living space. And so you end up experiencing the outdoors. A lot of people who have tiny houses are really into the outdoors and stuff like that and get to travel. So here, um, the living space is really just so it's functional and livable. And I mean, I decorated it also. So um but the emphasis isn't on the outside, and so I like the fact that they have like a pergola and um kind of a pool and a little oasis later on that you'll see. But the interior right now, if you take a look, it's very small, obviously. So with this 8 sim setup, you have to really kind of get creative. So here, this first room will be living slash kitchen slash someone's bedroom because I'm using that Murphy bed. And then that TV is my favorite because that's such a space saver. So that really came in handy right there. So technically they will put up their Murphy bed, they'll watch the TV right there, and that's kind of both their living room and um, their bedroom. So whether that's, I'm thinking eight 8 sims, I'm thinking like a mom and dad, a grandpa, grandma, or something like that, or whoever it is, just maybe just one couple, then their parents, and then 4 kids. So this would be for one of the couples, this bed, bedroom, living room, and then we'll have one more bedroom downstairs, and then we'll have 2 bedrooms upstairs um, as well. And here you'll see that I'm doing black color a lot. Honestly, I didn't at first I wasn't sure because you think small spaces, you're supposed to have it very bright because dark colors will kind of make it look smaller, but I felt like the fact that I did high ceilings in this case made it a little bit made it a little bit easier to feel kind of feel that space. So I felt like the black wasn't really taking away from that. It's in fact I felt like it was making it a little bit more homey, um, which I was pretty satisfied with. I like that. And then this will be, I figure like a girl's room, maybe teenager slash or maybe just the kid, whatever the Sims kid age is, child. Two girls' rooms, and then we'll have two boys' rooms upstairs. See, the move objects thing really has to be on in order for you to fit those beds in because each bed is a three tile technically, and then that room is five tiles. So really, we're cramming six tiles into five tiles. But the the beds are actually small enough to be able to do that. And then I'm doing like decorations inside because I also didn't want it to be, I mean, this is a 2 by 5 room. I definitely for two people, so I didn't want it to be super stuffed and just or just bare, and seem kind of like it was just thrown together. So I'm making this like cutesy little partition for them so that they can each have their own space, their own personalities. Um, and that's also I already mentioned, but this is all functional, so I did test it. This house is on the gallery. It is under the name Heir of Seven Kingdoms. That will be in the description if you want to check it out. Download it, fix it, let me know what you do with it. Totally excited to see that. And here I wanted to do an accent wall, so that'll be kind of cool. I've never actually played around with any of these fun wallpapers. I usually go for black and white, but here I kind of like this yellow, pink, that purple color, and that's a pretty cool room. At the end, you'll see the first person view. It looks really nice, and if you download it from the gallery, it's a very cozy room. I've never made a room that's this small, so I was very satisfied with that. And then the only downside about this tiny house living is that you can really only fit one bathroom in. If you're gonna make a living space or like a sleeping space essentially for 8 Sims, and you're trying to fit everything in within the 64 tiles, you're gonna have trouble putting in more than one bathroom. So here I'm making this one that's reasonable in size. So they have a shower, they'll have a sink, they'll have the toilet. And I played around a little bit with the layout. I figured maybe I'll do like a cool vanity or something like that, but it ends up not really working this way at this angle because it just takes too much space, and I felt like this toilet kind of looked like a decoration on the side there. So um, we're just gonna basically go bare minimum, also dark tones, because the tiny house, I don't know why, but I've always imagined them being really really modern. um so I went for that really cool dark stainless steel kind of look, kind of stony. um and adding the mirrors in really small spaces, I find really helps because it really does make the room feel way bigger than it actually is. So I actually added quite a few of these mirrors, these full wall ones, and they definitely made a difference to me here. So this is the first floor is actually coming pretty close to being finished. I I was kind of contemplating like maybe I will do um like a smaller living space somehow. I wanted to save two tiles or something and add a little office area, but it ended up not working at all. So basically, the only office space that these Sims are going to have is going to be upstairs in that master bedroom. But with small spaces, small tiny living, you kind of have to make those compromises, and people usually who buy tiny houses know that they're not gonna have a whole bunch of their own personal space. um, and I'm pretty sure they're usually fine with that. So I don't feel super bad about it. But this bathroom, I really enjoy this bathroom. Uh, the dark tones with the white are really cool, and that first black painting that was there, I think I should have kept it actually. I really loved it, but I ended up putting some, yeah, like that one. That one is nice too, I guess. And just some little lights, decorations. This tiny living pack, I gotta say, has a lot of cool things in it. The lights I love, some of the doors, like some really things that you wouldn't think about. They really came up with some really cool items there. So the second floor bedroom is the boys' bedroom that I mentioned. So I'm thinking like either teenagers again or kids. And there's two beds there, and that makes us um at six now. So we now have a sleeping quarters for six Sims, which is pretty cool. And then we only have the one master bedroom after this, and we would have fit everyone in. Um, so that'll be awesome. Sorry, my PlayStation kind of um, had an issue there for a second, so I had to jump to that screen there. This is on PlayStation, by the way. Also was a little bit of an adjustment to get there, but I really like it. I recommend playing on console for those of you guys who don't have a PC, and you do have a PlayStation or an Xbox. Don't be afraid of it. Try it out. It works these days just the same with all the updates that they made to it. So I highly recommend. Do let me know if you want to see anything else specific. This was a cool challenge. I just saw that some people were doing it online, and I thought I would throw my hat in the ring, so to speak. So, if you think of any other challenges or any cool builds or floor plans, let me know. I would love to test it out, see what I can do with it. Let me know in the comments. I actually, the thing that I usually try to do with twins or double rooms in general, I try to separate them into different personalities. So, like, I figure one of these kids really loves um, uh, like maps and stuff like that. The other one loves sports, so I kind of try to match that with the decor, so it doesn't just seem completely the same and identical with their personalities and everything. So that's a neat little bedroom. Also, 5 tiles for the bedroom, so that's great. And then we are gonna move on to the master bedroom. So here is where we're gonna really fit everything in that the rest of the stuff that they require essentially, which would be the office and then a dresser because there's just nowhere else that we could possibly fit that in. So here I also go for kind of woodsy, dark, maybe modern, but not like super kind of cold modern. I see it more as like European kind of style, warm colors. Um, but clearly like renovated, clearly built to preference, I guess. So there's that little dresser that I really liked and I really was hoping to fit it in, but it kind of looked off. I mean, it looked a little kiddish for this kind of a setup. And then the blinds, I was having a weird time with blinds too, just because the windows are so different. It didn't seem right to have different types of blinds. So those curtains actually fit really well in there. And then those tiny living paintings are amazing because they have different styles but are all the same aesthetic, which is really cool. I don't know if anyone is actually going to use this house to live in because I feel like it will be a little bit challenging. But at the same time, if your goal is to kind of just get your Sims to do career, hobbies, all of that, and you don't really care about how big the house is, and the perks are actually for tiny living, the perks are really cool. This is my first tiny house, but I looked at the perks and that's decent because whenever you build out those big houses, those bills really get you. So this one I know will decrease your bills. I think it makes your Sims like happy longer, um, or something like that. So all of those things are actually pretty useful to have. So this is the bedroom, and um, I really like it. I think it's very functional and kind of I love those lights on the wall. I thought at first I was like, ah, that kind of seems a little silly, but nope. Yeah, I'm okay with it. I like it. There's still no like floor lamps that I really liked except for that one. It just fits, but usually usually I don't go for the for those lamps, but I wanted the colors to be a little bit warmer. So now we're going to do the outside. We still have to do that dining room table I mentioned, and then kind of build that little oasis that we need for them to have indoor outdoor living space. So they have their big dining room table and then the grill and this little counter space thing. I wanted it to be kind of like a little bar with the stools and maybe a sink even, but then I thought I just didn't like the way it looked eventually. Essentially, it was a little bit too much. It looked like it would be a backyard of like a mansion looking house because I built so many counters and it was like it was huge, but this is not the purpose of this, and usually people who live in tiny houses wouldn't live like that. So this is a bit more realistic, just doing some tiling here, making it a little bit more polished. Um, the the outdoor space I'm pretty happy with, but I would probably add some more um, activities if I actually had a family that I was thinking of when I was doing this. So usually when I build houses, I'm thinking, okay, I have the sim, like I want them to have this huge career in this field, and these are the skills he's gonna build, or here's what she's gonna do for fun. And so then I put in all of those activities and make sure that there's opportunities for them to practice them. But here, because I'm not really thinking of any particular family that's gonna live in here, I couldn't really do that. So if any of you are actually going to use this house, you will probably have to basically readjust the outdoor living space to be a little bit more catered to their activities. So, like if they're a scientist, you might have to, instead of like this beach, you might have like a little science lab or something like that. Um, the keep in mind though, I thought I was gonna do like a garden, but if you're gonna fence anything in, that actually adds tiles, and that'll take you away from having your 64 tile bonus for a tiny house. So that's a trick, and you can't really do it. The only thing you could probably do is just leave like one tile off of the gate, but then it kind of looks a little bit weird to me. So um, I ended up not doing that. Although you could probably do like a little fence, leave one tile off, and then put a tree there or something to make it look as if the tile is kind of growing into. I mean the gate is kind of going into the tree, but you would see, you would know what your Sims needs are. So um we're getting pretty close to being done with this outdoor. Now we just need to kind of get this whole greenery down. I was trying to hang. I don't know how to hang anything off of that pergola. I was hoping to kind of hang those little vines off of the roof of that, but it didn't work. So like that, like you could do that little gate and then have it kind of grow into a little plant and rocks, and I think that looks really neat. And then we're kind of just making it more polished, a little bit. I love the modern here. I was a little bit skeptical at first. Kind of wanted to see, am I feeling modern, or maybe they're kind of like the woodsy cottage and lake kind of people that would live here. But I ended up really loving this modern aesthetic, and I love the blue and the brown. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. And those huge windows really also make a difference on the inside, and when the sun is coming through them in game, it looks really amazing. It makes you feel um like it makes it seem really realistic. So just doing some, I always do this little uh, like dirt soil thing around all the trees just so it doesn't look like the trees just sticking out of the bare dry ground. um, so all of that looks pretty decent. I imagine this would be a little bit difficult to live in though, because if you have 8 people in here, it's gonna be a challenge. But at least, at least we know that we have an opportunity to have a tiny house and have 8 people live in it. So it's a challenge. It is not necessarily a very convenient challenge, but a challenge nonetheless. And then I'm putting some of the lights outside too. It looks pretty cool at night if you want to check that out too. I love those little black ones, the outdoor lights. They look neat. I actually don't. That's probably the only object in game that I actually don't even size down. And that's it. So this is the tiny house that we have here for 8 Sims. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button and subscribe. I am releasing videos every Monday. And let me know in the comments below if you think of anything, any cool ideas, any feedback. I'm always open to it. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys. Thank you so much for watching.